Welcome to Daily Wisdom, Walking the Path with the Buddha, a podcast shared by David Roylance. This podcast is dedicated to guiding you to completely eliminate the discontent mind and the suffering it causes by attaining enlightenment. Learn and practice the teachings of Gotama Buddha that will guide you to fully attain a peaceful, calm, serene, and content mind with joy. To support this podcast, visit patreon.com/support Buddha or visit buddhadailywisdom.com, where you will discover a full range of courses, retreats, and online learning resources to assist you on the path to enlightenment. Now, here's our teacher to share more.
Chapter 5, The Eightfold Path, the path for all humans to enlightenment. With an understanding of the Four Noble Truths, you can now study and practice the path to eliminate discontentedness from the mind and your life. You will need a detailed and thorough understanding and practice of the Eightfold Path to attain enlightenment. Gotama Buddha gave us the path forward to pursuing our own enlightenment. In his explanation of the Eightfold Path, we learn exactly how to achieve enlightenment through a life practice or a better way of life. You will need to learn the Eightfold Path in detail over time to soak this teaching into the mind. A practitioner will need to apply time and effort to investigate this teaching on multiple occasions to fully develop their life practice. The Eightfold Path is your life practice and the path to enlightenment. The Eightfold Path is categorized into 3 different sections: wisdom, moral conduct, and mental discipline. Referring to the Eightfold Path as wisdom, moral conduct, and mental discipline is an easy way to reference the Eightfold Path and the goal of each section of the Eightfold Path without needing to describe each step individually. The following table will help you to understand the categorization of the Eightfold Path into its 3 separate categories, which describes the goals of those individual steps. For example, learning, reflecting, and practicing right view and right intention leads to the development of wisdom. Learning, reflecting, and practicing right speech, right action, and right livelihood leads to the development of moral conduct. And learning, reflecting, and practicing right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration leads to the development of mental discipline. You will find the following table in the printed version of the book Developing a Life Practice, The Path That Leads to Enlightenment. Right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. Separated into sections of wisdom, moral conduct, and mental discipline. You will need to put the entire Eightfold Path into practice within your daily life over time as you learn and grow. You will not be able to achieve perfection in a couple of days, weeks, or months. Instead, you will need to learn, implement, see results, and continue the process of working to diligently apply all steps of the Eightfold Path to your life. Through gradual training and gradual practice, the mind will experience gradual progress to becoming more peaceful and calm. You must not master each step individually before moving on to the next. Instead, study the entire Eightfold Path and implement it as a way of life, a life practice. Earning your own enlightenment is a pursuit of life-improving steps. Having guidance and teachers is helpful as you study and work towards the goal of enlightenment. The Eightfold Path is the way leading to the elimination of discontentedness and attaining enlightenment. Through practice of the Eightfold Path, we eliminate all unwholesome results and outcomes from our unwholesome decisions through not causing harm to other beings. This is described as the elimination of unwholesome karma through producing only wholesome Gama. It is our wholesome and wise decision-making to acquire wisdom, improve our moral conduct, and refine our mental discipline that we will experience better results in the condition of the mind and our life. By causing harm to other beings through your intentions, speech, actions, or livelihood, you cause harm to yourself through the natural law of Gama. The natural law of Gama is cause and effect, action and result, essentially the results of your decisions. If you make wholesome decisions, there will be wholesome outcomes. If you make unwholesome decisions, there will be unwholesome outcomes. It is due to craving, anger, and ignorance, unknowing of true reality, that the unenlightened mind does not understand what it does not understand, and therefore makes unwholesome decisions, causing harm in the world. Then that harm is returned to you through others' intentions, speech, and actions. There will be more on Gama in the chapter titled, What is Gama and How Does It Affect Me? Chapter 9. These teachings and practices are about non-harm or harmlessness to other beings, so that you do not create unwholesome outcomes, i.e. unwholesome Gama, which would be returned back to you. Practicing the Eightfold Path closely, you ensure there is no harm to other beings, practicing harmlessness. Thus, you can attain inner peace, enlightenment, or nibbana through, in part, the elimination and extinguishing of unwholesome Gama. The Noble Eightfold Path, the way of practice leading to the elimination of discontentedness. The following is a translation of Gotama Buddha's teachings from the Pali Canon, the source of Gotama Buddha's teachings. And what, monks, is the noble truth of the way of practice leading to the elimination of discontentedness? It is just this noble eightfold path, namely, right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. And what, monks, is right view? It is, monks, the wisdom of discontentedness, the wisdom of the cause of discontentedness, the wisdom of the elimination of discontentedness, and the wisdom of the way of practice leading to the elimination of discontentedness. This is called right view. And what, monks, is right intention? The intention of renunciation, the intention of non-ill will, the intention of harmlessness. This, monks, is called right intention. And what, monks, is right speech? Refraining from lying, refraining from slander, refraining from harsh speech, refraining from frivolous speech. This is called right speech. And what, monks, is right action? Refraining from taking life, refraining from taking what is not given, refraining from sexual misconduct. This is called right action. And what, monks, is right livelihood? Here, monks, the noble disciple, having given up wrong livelihood, keeps himself by right livelihood. And what, monks, is right effort? Here, monks, a monk rouses his will, makes an effort, stirs up energy, exerts his mind, and strives to prevent the arising of unarisen, evil, unwholesome mental states. He rouses his will, makes an effort, stirs up energy, exerts his mind, and strives to overcome evil, unwholesome mental states that have arisen. He rouses his will, makes an effort, stirs up energy, exerts his mind, and strives to produce unarisen, wholesome mental states. He rouses his will, makes an effort, stirs up energy, exerts his mind, and strives to maintain wholesome mental states that have arisen, not to let them fade away, to bring them to greater growth, to the full perfection of development. This is called right effort. And what, monks, is right mindfulness? Here, monks, a monk resides, reflecting on body as body, dedicated, clearly aware and mindful, having put aside craving and worry for the world. He resides reflecting on feelings as feelings, dedicated, clearly aware and mindful, having put aside craving and worry for the world. He resides reflecting on mind as mind, dedicated, clearly aware and mindful, having put aside craving and worry for the world. He resides reflecting on mental objects as mental objects, dedicated, clearly aware and mindful, having put aside craving and worry for the world. This is called right mindfulness. In what, monks, is right concentration? Here, a monk distant from sense desires, distant from unwholesome mental states, enters and resides in the first jhana, which is with thinking and pondering, based in seclusion, filled with excitement and joy, and with the subsiding of thinking and pondering, by gaining inner tranquility and oneness of mind, he enters and resides in the second jhana, which is without thinking and pondering, based in concentration, filled with excitement and joy, and with the fading away of excitement, remaining imperturbable, mindful and clearly aware, he experiences in himself the joy of which the noble ones say, "Peaceful is he who resides with equanimity and mindfulness." He enters the third jhana, and having given up pleasure and pain, and with the fading away of former gladness and sadness, he enters and resides in the fourth jhana, which is beyond pleasure and pain, and purified by equanimity and mindfulness. This is called right concentration. And that, monks, is called the way of practice leading to the elimination of discontentedness. Gotama Buddha. Reference DN 22. 1. Right view. Having the right view is having a clear understanding of the Four Noble Truths and practice this teaching so that you know it is true. You will need to understand that the Four Noble Truths explains the wisdom of discontentedness, the wisdom of the cause of discontentedness, the wisdom of the elimination of discontentedness, and the wisdom of the way of practice leading to the elimination of discontentedness. The Eightfold Path explains the path forward to eliminate discontentedness in the mind. You need to accept responsibility for your own intentions, speech, and actions, realizing that you cause the mind to be discontent, not anyone else or something else external. You alone are the cause of the discontent mind, and only you can eliminate the discontentedness in the mind through learning and practicing the entire Eightfold Path. This is practicing right view. If you blame others for the pleasant feelings, painful feelings, or feelings that are neither painful nor pleasant, discontentedness, then you are not yet practicing right view, but instead wrong view. You need to understand and observe the wisdom that no one and nothing can create a discontent mind. Only you can do that to yourself. If you will not take responsibility for the mind, blaming others for its discontentedness, then you will find it impossible to eliminate discontentedness in the mind. Wrong view means that discontentedness in the mind is caused by someone else or something else, so therefore you have no ability to eliminate discontent feelings. Right view is accepting and seeing it as your responsibility to eliminate discontentedness in the mind without blame of anyone else. You are solely and 100% responsible for all discontent feelings. This means that you can 100% eliminate discontentedness in the mind. Accepting this responsibility is the very first step towards a peaceful mind and eliminating 100% of the discontentedness in the mind. 2. Right intention. The right intention, right thought, or right thinking is formed by the interest in renunciation, letting go, along with the absence of ill will or harm in the mind. You need to practice the intention to let go of unwholesomeness while developing a practice of non-ill will and harmlessness. Goodwill, harmlessness, and wholesome intentions towards all beings is important. Intentions based in ill will, harm, craving, anger, ignorance, unknowing of true reality, ego, or other unwholesome mental states will produce unskillful speech and actions, thus produce unwholesome results, i.e., unwholesome karma. You must always have the right or proper intention, thoughts, or thinking that is positive and beneficial to other beings to produce the best outcomes for your own well-being. There are 3 aspects to right intention. Renunciation. The mind needs to practice renunciation or relinquishment, the interest and willingness to let go and give up unwholesomeness in the mind's false beliefs and misperceptions of reality. The cause of discontentedness is that the mind has craving, desire, attachment, mental longing with a strong eagerness, which is the source of all discontent feelings. As long as the mind is holding on, then it will continue to experience discontentedness. Until it is trained to let go, to reside in the middle, the mind will continually experience discontentedness. With the intention of letting go or relinquishment, the mind is prepared to abandon its harmful habits and develop wholesome moral conduct and mental discipline through all the other steps on the Eightfold Path, while eliminating its false beliefs and misperceptions of reality. Non-ill will. The mind needs to develop the intention and practice of loving kindness, which is the opposite of ill will or non-ill will. Loving kindness is active goodwill towards all beings without judgment, a genuine interest in seeing all beings be well. Through developing the intention for all beings to be well, including yourself, the mind is filled with loving kindness and has eliminated ill will. The mind is then uninterested to cause harm to other beings and finds its way developing the remaining portions of the Eightfold Path as a well-developed life practice. Harmlessness. The mind needs to have the right or proper thought, thinking, or intention to not be interested in producing harm to other beings. Any harm that we cause to a being is only going to be returned to us and be a source to cause our own harm. Causing harm to other beings is like kicking up sand and having it blow back into your eyes. Knowing that any harm you cause is only going to be returned back to you, why would the mind continue to choose to cause harm to others? A practice or intention of harmlessness will ensure the mind is uninterested and unmotivated to cause harm to other beings, and will find it more seamless to make all the other decisions to cultivate the Eightfold Path and practice the teachings in daily life. Right intention helps to form a foundation of wisdom in the mind to let go, having a genuine interest in seeing all beings be well, and a practice of harmlessness, which the remaining factors of the path to enlightenment are then developed and practiced through the Eightfold Path. 3. Right speech. The right speech involves ensuring that we do not cause harm to other beings through our communication. During the lifetime of Gotama Buddha, all that existed was verbal speech. Today, we have communication through verbal speech, text, chat messages, emails, posts to social media, and many other forms of written communication. All communication can either be harmless or wholesome, and harmful or unwholesome. But choosing to learn and practice harmless communication, or right speech, you are then ensuring how you interact with others does not cause harm, so that harm is not returned to you. To practice right speech or right communication, a practitioner would need to fully develop and practice the 5 factors of well-spoken speech in all conversations through gradual training of the mind. This includes polite, kind, friendly, respectful, and wholesome speech in all forms of communication. 5 factors of well-spoken speech. The following is a translation of Gotama Buddha's teachings from the Pali Canon, the source of Gotama Buddha's teachings. Monks, possessing 5 factors, speech is well-spoken, not badly spoken. It is blameless and beyond reproach by the wise. What 5? 1. It is spoken at the proper time. 2. What is said is true. 3. It is spoken gently. 4. What is said is beneficial. 5. It is spoken with a mind of loving kindness. Possessing these 5 factors, speech is well spoken, not badly spoken. It is blameless and beyond reproach by the wise. Gotama Buddha. Reference AN 5.198. Proper time. A practitioner needs to ensure they are choosing the right time to speak. This includes not interrupting others when they are speaking, choosing to be patient, and to speak at the appropriate time. This also includes ensuring that your mind is prepared to speak and is choosing to speak at a time when the mind is clear and concentrated, rather than angered or otherwise confused about the topic to be discussed. If the mind is angered or unconcentrated, this will produce communication that is harmful to others, requiring them to sort through our own discontent feelings and unconcentrated or unorganized thoughts. If the mind is discontent, that is the improper time to speak. Postponing conversations can allow the mind time to regain its calmness, mindfulness, and concentration to then ensure one is speaking at the proper time with wisdom. If the mind is lacking right intention, right mindfulness, or right concentration, that is the improper time to communicate. Allow the mind to regain these qualities of mind and then communicate at the proper time when you can practice harmlessness with full awareness of the mind and with focus or singleness of mind. It is also important that you observe and consider whether it is the proper time to talk with the other person. If they are angered, frustrated, or irritated, it is most likely not the proper time to have a discussion. You can consider the topic that you have to speak about and ensure it is the appropriate time to have a discussion on that specific topic. When people first come home or have recently arrived to a certain destination, it is oftentimes best to allow their mind to adjust to the new environment where they have just arrived before discussing most topics, especially topics that may be of a heavy nature. Topics that are significant, dramatic, or those that might involve major changes to one's life would be best discussed at a time when your mind and the mind of others involved is prepared to discuss that topic. It could be wise to ask the other individual if it would be a good time to discuss a certain topic before just opening up into an in-depth conversation that could have significant impacts to one's life. As a wise practitioner, you may need to prepare the mind of the individual prior to choosing to have major conversations through asking questions if it would be a good time to speak about a specific topic, rather than opening up into a full-scale conversation. Knowing the best time to speak with others will need to be developed through trial and error, being best assessed in the present moment based on the uniqueness of the topic, while considering the mental state of the individuals involved in the conversation. True. Having truthful communication helps to establish that you are a true speaker, one to be relied on, trustworthy, dependable, not a deceiver of the world. A practitioner who only speaks the truth develops the ability to be helpful and well received by others because people become accustomed to you only speaking the truth. It will be well known within your community that when you speak, you only speak the truth. Therefore, you will find it much easier to help others and encourage improvement in all the various projects and efforts you choose to participate. Through speaking the truth, you become one whom people listen to, well received in the world, instead of a deceiver of the world. You will find that opportunities to progress in life with wholesome outcomes will come to you more easily because in your personal and professional relationships, people know that you are not a liar but are trustworthy and dependable. If one speaks untruths, people worry what else you could be lying about, and one's reputation is significantly diminished, creating obstacles to your success in life. Not only is it wise to speak the truth in terms of not telling a deliberate lie, but also it is important to verify the accuracy so that all you share through communication is 100% true. Whether you are speaking, writing, or otherwise communicating in any way, ensuring that you have independently verified what you share with others will ensure the best possible outcomes, and the mind can be at ease knowing that what you share is accurate and the truth. Propagating untruths, conspiracy theories, or otherwise unfounded content will only create harm in the world. Therefore, it will produce unwholesome results for you. Where you can talk through your own direct experience, this will ensure you are speaking the truth, not only by telling a deliberate lie, but also ensuring all that is communicated is accurate and based in wisdom. Always speaking the truth makes it easy for the mind and unburdens the mind. If one always speaks the truth, they do not need to sort through all the various conversations and statements they have made in the past to conduct conversations in the present moment. A practitioner can just always look to the truth, speak the truth, and the mind can rest easy knowing that at all times you are only ever speaking the truth. This allows communication to happen easily, seamlessly, and with minimal effort, unburdening the mind. The mind can rest and relax, knowing that you are only ever speaking the truth. Spoken gently. To speak gently, one needs to pay close attention to training and then practicing gentle tone, tempo, and word choice in their communication. Through observing what is working and not working amongst individuals that you communicate with, you can dramatically improve how you communicate and thus interact with others. You can observe and become aware how calm and gentle words work to accomplish your goals more readily than rushed and harsh words. You will need to practice, observe, and adjust your communication style until the mind is more finely tuned to practice speaking effortlessly and gently in all conversations, paying close attention to tone, tempo, and word choice. When you do not practice speaking gently, notice how it causes harm to others and thus causes harm in your relationships. There are going to be challenges for you to bring your communication style closer to speaking gently in all conversations. As you are gradually developing your life practice, but still unable to practice speaking gently, you can apologize, aim to improve, then move on, applying effort to improve in each and every conversation. Beneficial. A practitioner who is speaking beneficially would ensure their communication is clear, concise, and well delivered, ensuring there is purposeful speech with an interest to help others. If one was to speak unclearly, lacking conciseness, and with poorly delivered communication, then it would cause harm to others, as they would need to sort through the muddled conversation to determine what you are attempting to communicate. Through a well-concentrated mind that is uninterested in causing harm to others, you can decide to train the mind to gather the thoughts and communicate in a clear, concise, and well-delivered method that ensures the receiver of your communication does not need to apply extensive effort to understand what is being shared. Communication should be purposeful and to the point, without frivolous speech or pointless rambling. If you make people work hard to understand what you are attempting to share, people will be less and less interested in communicating with you. People will just stop listening and tune you out. You will find this frustrating and challenging to accomplish your goals in life. To develop effective communication, your speech needs to be beneficial to others through purposeful dialogue that is not self-satisfying or originating from selfish desires. Instead, look for ways to help others that focus on bringing people together in harmony rather than argumentative, unbeneficial conversations through clear, concise, and well-delivered communication. A mind of loving kindness. Through a well-developed practice of right intention, a practitioner should have loving kindness for all beings. Loving kindness is active goodwill towards all beings without judgment, a genuine interest in seeing all beings be well. Through right intention or right thought and right thinking, brought through into right speech, the mind is well prepared to deliver words with goodwill in an interest in seeing all beings be well. If there is any ill will inserted into your communication, this will cause harm to others, therefore cause harm to you. While on the surface, sarcasm may seem humorous and harmless, but in reality, the true intention behind sarcasm is oftentimes malicious and with ill intent. While it may be the right time, true, gentle, and perceived as beneficial, if there is ill intent with sarcasm through mocking or ridicule, then the speech is not being spoken through a mind of loving kindness. Therefore, any speech, including sarcasm, that has ill will is harmful and will only come back to harm you. People will speak to you in the same way that you speak to others. The ill-intended speech with sarcasm, mocking, and ridicule of others is only going to be returned to you, as this is the speech one is choosing to use with others. Conversely, if you speak with a mind of loving kindness, that is how others will choose to speak with you. Over time, more and more people will observe your wholesome moral conduct and choose to treat you the same way that you treat others. Blameless. No one enjoys being blamed for anything or made to feel as if they are at fault. While it could be true that someone has made a mistake, it is just a mistake or accident, and if you choose to assign blame in your communication, it is only going to serve to create division. And if the person truly has not made a mistake and is being falsely blamed, this is only going to create separation and arguments. Blameful speech is harmful speech. If we choose to be blameful towards others, holding them to potentially feel guilty about their mistakes, then people are going to be uninterested to interact with you as a family member, friend, or coworker. Rather than focusing on placing blame, a well-trained mind can let go of that desire and instead focus on solutions to the mistake. There is no need to ensure someone is pressured into accepting blame, but instead, the real challenge is how to move past this impermanent situation in peacefulness and harmony with all beings, feeling whole. Placing blame would only produce harm to others through disparaging others' efforts. Thus, it is going to harm your relationship both personally and professionally. Mistakes or accidents are mistakes and accidents. So punishing others through blameful speech is only going to drive people in the opposite direction from you, where you will lack the support you need to accomplish the goals or objectives ahead of you. Instead of blaming others for situations and circumstances that are in the past, focus on the present moment and how to resolve the situation for the best outcome of all involved. It is best to find encouraging, supportive, and motivating language that can allow all participants to maintain their enthusiasm and interest to work together in meeting a given goal or objective. Speech that is blameless is speech that is harmless. Through causing no harm in your communication, you will find that relationships are quite enjoyable, and you can be inspiring to countless people in your life. You can reflect on these 5 factors of well-spoken speech in the need to speak blamelessly, and how when you have not spoken in this way, your conversations and relationships dissolved or were otherwise negatively impacted. Conversely, you can observe how when speaking in this way, all participants gained insight, understanding, and maintained harmony in accomplishing certain goals. As you observe that the mind is not practicing one or more of these 5 factors, make efforts and repeated efforts to improve your moral conduct through applying energy and active training of the mind. Bring your speech closer and closer to these 5 factors, observing how your personal and professional relationships will dramatically improve as you focus on improving your life practice as it relates to right speech or right communication. If you choose to not practice these 5 factors in their entirety, then you will observe the struggles and challenges associated with practicing wrong speech or wrong communication. Difficulties in personal and professional relationships will ensure the result of continued struggles and challenges, making any goals or objectives more labor-intensive. The mind will be drained of its energy because it is constantly struggling to have polite, kind, friendly, and respectful relationships. If you miss even one of these factors in a given conversation, there is the potential for the discussion to digress into argumentative or otherwise difficult territory that you'd wished would not have occurred. Training the mind closer and closer to practicing all 5 factors will only help you to achieve better results in life. Speaking in this way is a better way of life that is beneficial for others. Therefore, it is benefiting you. As your life practice becomes more and more wholesomeness will return to you. We should not engage in idle chatter or unpurposeful talk that includes gossip, harsh language, false speech with lies, deceit, or slander. Slander, speech or communication that is damaging to the reputation of an individual, company, organization, country, group of people, etc., whether true or false. Having clear, well thought out, purposeful, and wholesome speech is important. Your speech should be without blame or blameless. The right speech is born out of right intention. With wholesome intentions, practicing harmlessness, this will breed wholesome and purposeful speech, free from craving, anger, and ignorance, unknowing of true reality, without ego. A good practice is, if you do not have something good to say, then do not say anything at all. You will need to learn to have right speech to attain enlightenment, practicing the 5 factors of well-spoken speech. These are not rules to follow, but instead the best way to ensure the best possible outcome in all your communication with all beings. Through not causing harm to others through your speech, your life will become effortless and much more enjoyable as your personal and professional relationships will blossom. When you do not practice speaking with right speech, notice how it causes harm to others and thus causes harm in your relationships. There are going to be challenges for you to bring your communication style closer to speaking with right speech in all communication. There are going to be challenges for you to bring your communication style closer to speaking with right speech in all conversations. As you are gradually developing your life practice, but still unable to practice speaking with right speech, you can apologize, aim to improve, then move on, applying effort to improve in each and every conversation. Four, right action. Our bodily actions are born from the right intention. Having no interest in harming other beings through practicing loving kindness and all other aspects of right intention, the mind can then produce bodily actions without harm. You need to produce the right actions to ensure no harm to other beings through movements of the body. Actions should also be free of craving, anger, or ignorance, unknowing of true reality, and ego. Our bodily actions should be without harm or harmless. Some of the most harmful bodily actions include the below, and through making the unwholesome decision to do any of these, there will be unwholesome results, i.e., unwholesome karma. A practitioner should develop their life practice to refrain from killing, refrain from stealing, refrain from misusing of sexual conduct that would harm, refrain from substances that would cause heedlessness, refrain from gambling. These actions are largely part of the 5 precepts, which should be practiced by all people. Through practice of these 5 precepts and the Eightfold Path, one is conducting a good moral life. While Gotama Buddha never explicitly said, "Do not punch someone in the face" as part of right action, we know that if we cause harm through our bodily actions, this will cause harm to us. If you were to hit someone, either a friend or a person unknown to you, the harm you cause will be returned to you. They could hit you, their friends could attack you, you could go to jail, or you might even get murdered. Any bodily actions that are harmful will cause harm to others, and there will be harm that returns to you. It is important to purify your bodily actions to ensure that you are practicing in such a way that there is no harm being produced through your bodily actions, so that no harm will come to you. We do not judge others, discriminate, or otherwise form harmful bodily actions. These are not commandments, but the best way one would live in harmony with others. 5. Right livelihood. A livelihood is how you earn your living through daily life to sustain your life in a career, profession, or lifestyle. Our livelihood is the work or activities we do on a daily basis, such as an occupation or lifestyle, to sustain our life, i.e., stay-at-home parent, volunteer, retired person, holy life, administrative support, waste removal, cleaning services, doctor, politician, entrepreneur, etc. A livelihood to sustain our life should not cause any harm to other beings. If we cause harm to other beings in order to sustain our own life, this is going to produce harm in our own life. For example, are you a doctor, nurse, auto mechanic, street cleaning engineer, food server, waste removal technician, etc.? Are you conducting a livelihood that is wholesome and helpful to society and humanity? Yes. This is a right livelihood. You should not cause any harm through your livelihood. Each person has a livelihood, whether the goal is to acquire financial support or not. A livelihood is the career, profession, or lifestyle one chooses. In some cases, a person may choose to pursue personal interest and skills rather than financial goals or a career. A stay-at-home parent is still a livelihood, as this is a contribution to society and humanity, providing life-sustaining activities, but may not have a direct salary associated with the day-to-day responsibilities. A livelihood is not necessarily solely to make money or produce wealth, but instead is how we choose to contribute our time, effort, and energy towards life-sustaining activities for us and our family. Finding life-supporting activities, a livelihood, that allow us to generate income to support our life through helping others, or just purely providing life-sustaining activities that we perform as a role in society, is our livelihood. Through finding a livelihood that you enjoy while also providing income or life-sustaining needs will ensure a successful livelihood. For those who do generate income through their livelihood, focus on finding something you enjoy that happens to also provide financial support. This will ensure the best outcome and enthusiasm for your daily life. If you select a livelihood solely on the basis of making money, acquiring wealth, power, prestige, or a specific title, then you will find the mind will struggle to perform your duties and responsibilities on an ongoing, consistent basis, perhaps even becoming bored or disinterested. If you find a livelihood that is helping others, you enjoy the profession, and you happen to be able to acquire financial income to sustain your life and the life of those close to you, this will be the best match. The mind will be motivated and enthusiastic to perform the daily responsibilities of the livelihood with ease. Finding a livelihood where you can acquire an income, help others, and you enjoy the activities required on a daily basis will ensure that you never work one day in your life. Your profession will not feel like work, but instead, it is just one way that you help the world through your daily efforts, and it happens to generate life-sustaining resources for you and your family. Your livelihood is part of your life practice, and we can make conscious and wise choices to ensure we are meeting our goals while also helping others through our livelihood. Gotama Buddha gave us 5 livelihoods that we should not engage in as they cause harm to other beings, thus unwholesome kama production, business and weapons, business and living beings, animals, slaves, human trafficking, business and meat, business and substances that cause heedlessness, and business and poisons. These all cause harm in the world. Thus, if we choose to sustain our life based on these wrong livelihoods, then we will experience harm. Trades not to be plied. The following is a translation of Gotama Buddha's teachings from the Pali Canon, the source of Gotama Buddha's teachings. Monks, a household practitioner should not engage in these 5 trades. What 5? Business and weapons, business and living beings, business and meat, business and substances that cause heedlessness, and business and poisons. A household practitioner should not engage in these 5 trades. Reference AN 5.177. And what, monks, is wrong livelihood? Scheming, flattery, hinting, belittling, pursuing gain with gain. This is wrong livelihood. Gotama Buddha. Reference MN 117. These are aspects of practice that one is being guided to avoid while practicing one's livelihood. Scheming, corruption or deception. Flattery, excessive and insincere praise, given especially to further one's own interests. Hinting, suggest or indicate something indirectly or covertly, not being direct, clear, and to the point with one's work activities. Belittling, talking down to others in negative and disparaging ways in the attempt to diminish others' work. Pursuing gain with gain, doing work just for profit or greed, without a real interest to provide benefit to humanity through one's livelihood. As long as your livelihood is not involved in any of these 5 wrong livelihoods, you are not pursuing a livelihood solely for the purpose of gain or selfish desires, i.e., solely for fame or fortune, and you conduct your livelihood with high ethics, i.e., without scheming, corruption, or deception, you are practicing right livelihood. Ordained practitioners have guidance from Gotama Buddha beyond these 5 livelihoods that are considered wrong livelihood. For example, Gotama Buddha provided guidance that ordained practitioners who provide tattoos, palm reading, spells, predictions based on astronomy, and other types of livelihoods are practicing wrong livelihood. Gotama Buddha's teachings have much more details on right livelihood for ordained practitioners. Gotama Buddha's objective for ordained practitioners was to keep them focused on learning, practicing, and sharing these teachings so that they could eliminate discontentedness in the mind for themselves and guide humanity in eliminating the discontentedness in their mind. Therefore, ordained practitioners who focus on livelihoods other than learning, practicing, and sharing the teachings are not practicing right livelihood. Ordained practitioners are sustained through offerings by household practitioners. So it is important that they develop their own practice of these teachings and then share those teachings with household practitioners so they can benefit from the teachings and improve their life. If ordained practitioners are not learning, reflecting, and practicing the teachings so that they can then share the teachings with household practitioners, they are benefiting from the offerings and hard work of household practitioners without providing anything in return that is beneficial to household practitioners. This was not how Gotama Buddha intended the community of ordained practitioners to function. Thus, he established many wrong livelihoods that involve distracting ordained practitioners from their work to develop a life practice and then teach others. Recently, marijuana has become known as a substance once thought of as a drug, but now many people are realizing its medicinal qualities. For one to sell this medication through proper legal channels as a medication with the intention to help, that would still be considered a right livelihood. You will find more on the topic of marijuana in the chapter titled The 5 Precepts, A Householder's Guide to Daily Practice, Chapter 7. Detailed explanation of right livelihood is available in this same book series, found in Chapter 14 of the book Lowly Arts, Volume 12. 6. Right effort. Right effort has 4 aspects to it that need to be understood and practiced. To apply right effort, you will need to A. Prevent unwholesome mental states that have not arisen from arising in the mind. B. Abandon unwholesome mental states that have arisen in the mind. C. Produce unarisen wholesome mental states to arise in the mind. D. Maintain wholesome mental states that have arisen, not allowing them to fade away, and work to increase their growth in the mind. Prevent unwholesome mental states that have not arisen from arising in the mind. A good example of this aspect of right effort would be that you most likely have no interest in killing another human being currently in the mind. The unwholesome mental state of killing another human being is unarisen in the mind. Applying this aspect of right effort would be to prevent this unwholesome mental state and all other unwholesome mental states that have not arisen in the mind from arising. Abandon unwholesome mental states that have arisen in the mind. A good example of this aspect of right effort would be that if you are currently in a relationship yet have a craving and desire to have sexual contact with another, you should apply right effort to abandon this unwholesome mental state that has arisen in the mind. Eliminate the unwholesome mental state of craving sexual contact as you already have a partner, and having sexual contact with another would cause harm. Another example of this would be when you feel the rise of anger inside of the mind, along with the physical sensations of a burning and irate feeling arising. Do you let it come through in your speech and actions, or do you make the right effort to abandon this unwholesome mental state? By applying right effort, we can abandon the unwholesome mental state prior to reacting through our speech and actions, thus eliminating any potential unwholesome karma production through our speech and actions. Produce unarisen wholesome mental states to arise in the mind. A good example of this aspect of right effort would be if you know the mind is not generous or compassionate, then you apply right effort to produce these unarisen wholesome mental states to arise in the mind. Practice generosity and compassion through your actions and all other wholesome mental states that need to be arisen to attain enlightenment. Maintain wholesome mental states that have arisen, not allowing them to fade away, and work to increase their growth in the mind. A good example of this aspect of right effort would be if the mind currently has loving kindness and sympathetic joy. Then you apply right effort to maintain these wholesome mental states that have arisen, not allowing them to fade away, and work to increase their growth in the mind. Right effort summary. In applying right effort, you actively work to prevent and then abandon unwholesome mental states such as craving, anger, and ignorance, unknowing of true reality, or ego from arising, along with other unwholesome mental states that would be in conflict with the 5 precepts or other teachings. It is important to cultivate wholesome mental states such as generosity, loving kindness, wisdom, and humbleness, the opposite of craving, anger, ignorance, and ego. You can apply right effort to cultivate the wholesome mental states of compassion, sympathetic joy, equanimity, along with the wholesome mental states shared as guidance in the 5 precepts and all other teachings shared by Gotama Buddha. You will also need to apply right effort to develop a meditation practice on a consistent and ongoing basis. A practitioner will need to apply right effort to abandon the unwholesome mental state of complacency and arise the wholesome quality of developing and practicing meditation daily. After implementing this important practice and applying right effort, over time, you will notice it becomes easier and easier to abandon the unwholesome mental states and arise wholesome mental states. Over time, and as you better train the mind, when events happen in your life where you once experienced anger or other unwholesome mental states, you won't even have a rise of the unwholesome mental state at all. You will not experience any anger, frustration, irritation, or other unwelcome feelings. You will notice that you can completely and entirely eliminate 100% of all unwholesome mental states through actively cutting off the arising of unwholesome mental states and through cultivating wholesome mental states. Breathing mindfulness meditation and generosity is training the mind to easily let go. Then, in daily life, as unwelcome feelings and unwholesome mental states arise, a practitioner can more easily apply right effort to cut off and eliminate the unwholesome, arising the wholesome. Through determination, dedication, and diligence to apply right effort in daily life, over time, the mind will gradually eliminate any arising of discontentedness. This requires a committed and consistent meditation practice, along with learning and implementing all the other teachings, including right effort. Right effort will help you to attain a peaceful, calm, and stable mind, no matter what events happen in your life. You will not be attached to the speech nor actions of others, nor events that happen around you. You will ultimately attain an unshakable, content mind. The mind will need gradual training to accomplish this result. Training the mind in this way, you can work towards liberating the mind through wisdom. It is a permanent place for the mind to reside, content and peaceful. The same applies to unwholesome mental states, like sexual desire that would break the 5 precepts, or other unwholesome mental states. Do you allow this unwholesome mental state to continue to arise and then apply speech and action to fulfill your desire, or do you make efforts to abandon this unwholesome mental state? We must apply right effort to abandon unwholesome mental states and produce or maintain wholesome mental states. With right effort, you prevent unwholesome mental states that have not arisen from arising, abandon unwholesome mental states that have arisen, produce unarisen wholesome mental states, and maintain wholesome mental states that have arisen, not allowing them to fade away, and work to increase their growth in the mind. 7. Right mindfulness. Mindfulness is to be aware of the mind in the present moment, not allowing the mind to dwell in the past or the future. To purify the mind, you will need to have awareness of mind and what currently exists in the mind. Additionally, to apply right effort, you will need to have full awareness of the mind at all times. This is developed gradually over time. For a practitioner who is just starting out, you can think of right mindfulness as awareness of mind. However, as you progress in this book series and seek guidance with a teacher, a practitioner will need to learn and practice the 4 foundations of mindfulness. These are explored in the book Breathing Mindfulness Meditation, Volume 7 of this same book series. For completeness, the 4 foundations of mindfulness will be listed here, and then teachings on these will be found in the book Breathing Mindfulness Meditation, Volume 7 of this same book series, and through training classes with the author of this book series. A practitioner can consider right mindfulness awareness of mind until they are able to more fully explore the 4 foundations of mindfulness and develop these in their life practice. What are the 4 foundations of mindfulness? The 4 foundations of mindfulness are 4 aspects of awareness the mind needs to develop to have awareness of mind, then actively and skillfully work with arising unwholesome thoughts, ideas, and feelings to eliminate them from ever arising again. It is through developing awareness of bodily sensations, feelings, conditions of the mind, and mental objects that the mind can then eliminate unwholesome qualities and cultivate wholesome qualities. Through developing the 4 foundations of mindfulness, a practitioner can then more readily and actively cut off the thoughts and let them go, training the mind to eliminate discontentedness. Rather than allowing the mind to become polluted with unwholesome feelings, conditions of the mind, or mental objects, a practitioner can instead cut off and let go of any arising thoughts, ideas, and feelings when they are only bodily sensations. This allows the mind to not experience the pollution of arising unwholesomeness and trains the mind so that unwholesome thoughts, ideas, and feelings no longer arise at all. Without the 4 foundations of mindfulness, a practitioner would not be aware of the bodily sensations or the resulting feelings, conditions of the mind, and mental objects to then be able to cut off and let go of the unwholesome thoughts, ideas, and feelings prior to polluting the mind so that eventually they will never arise. Through developing the 4 foundations of mindfulness, a practitioner will be able to get to the point in their training that through the constant cutting off of unwholesome thoughts, ideas, and feelings, that the mind can reside peaceful, calm, serene, and content with joy, because unwholesomeness will never arise. It is the constant cutting off, sooner and sooner, that the mind can experience liberation through the non-arising, unwholesome thoughts, ideas, and feelings. The mind will eventually get tired and will submit to never arise unwholesome thoughts, ideas, or feelings. The non-arising of unwholesome thoughts, ideas, and feelings is experienced through a well-liberated mind, an enlightened mind. The 4 foundations of mindfulness. Body as body, observing awareness of bodily sensations. Feelings as feelings, observing awareness of feelings. Mind as mind, observing awareness of conditions of the mind. Mental objects as mental objects, observing awareness of mental objects. To develop awareness of mind, you should not allow the mind to be lost in daydreams, anticipation, indulgences, worry, or dwell in other discontent feelings. With awareness of the mind that the mind is not in the present moment during daily life, cut off those thoughts and bring the mind to the present moment. Cultivating mindfulness or awareness of mind is accomplished through meditation practices and carried into everyday life through implementing awareness of the mind in each moment of your normal activities. To cultivate mindfulness, you will need to learn breathing mindfulness meditation in the positions of seated, lying, standing, or walking. Breathing mindfulness meditation and the 4 body positions for meditation are described in the chapter titled Meditation, Developing Your Practice, Chapter 11. Using breathing mindfulness meditation, you can establish mindfulness or awareness of bodily sensations, feelings, conditions of the mind, and mental objects, while learning to let them go to eliminate discontentedness. If you continue to have reoccurring thoughts during the day or during your meditation sessions, a practitioner could find the cravings, desires, attachments of why this discontentedness exists and learn how to eliminate them from the mind with the guidance of a teacher. Eliminating cravings, desires, attachments will clear the mind and uncover your ability to concentrate in the present moment. Right concentration is the last and final step of practicing the entire Eightfold Path. The word mindfulness or mindful has become a popular word as part of common language. The use of the word mindfulness or mindful is most often being used in replace of careful. While the vast majority of the world is using these words in a different way than that of the Buddha, it is important that you understand the use of the word mindfulness and mindful in the same way as Gotama Buddha. This will bring the mind to a better understanding of the path to enlightenment and allow you to cultivate the mind to attain enlightenment. Even though others may choose to misunderstand this word and use it in replace of careful, now that you understand the definition of this word more deeply, you can use it as described as part of the Eightfold Path so that you can train the mind based on these teachings. Mindfulness is awareness of mind. Be sure to continually practice right mindfulness during all waking moments. Implement mindfulness into your daily life in all that you do. This will assist you to be aware of the mind, clear the mind of cravings, desires, attachments to the past or future, and to eliminate aversion, thus allowing the mind to reside in the present moment, being satisfied with what is, with a more peaceful, calm, serene, and content mind with joy. 8. Right concentration. Concentration is the practice of meditation and a byproduct of a clear and pure mind that is practicing the entire Eightfold Path. A mind that has eliminated cravings, desires, attachments, along with practicing all these teachings, will have a focus and high degree of concentration. This is referred to as singleness of mind. Right concentration, or singleness of mind, is developed and maintained with a consistent and regular practice of the Eightfold Path, including a well-established meditation practice to train the mind. Through training the mind and breathing mindfulness meditation, a practitioner applies right effort to develop right mindfulness, training the mind to let go, to eliminate craving, mental longing with a strong eagerness. As a result, the mind becomes more aware and concentrated. Then, in daily life, one should train the mind to only focus on one thing at a time to develop higher degrees of concentration or singleness of mind. It is not physically possible for the mind to do more than one thing at a time. If a practitioner attempts to do multiple things at one time through multitasking, you are essentially training the mind to rapidly cycle from one task to another. The mind is not actually doing multiple tasks at one time, but instead is being trained to become overactive, cycling through tasks so quickly, it will find it challenging to do any particular task well. The mind will then lack concentration and find that from the overstimulation that it is difficult to calm and relax the mind at other times in your day. Through training the mind to only do one task at a time, a practitioner will increase their productivity because each task will be done well with wholesome decisions and wholesome results, i.e., wholesome karma. You will not need to clean up any situations where you rush through the decision-making process, producing unwholesome results. Instead, each decision will produce wholesome results because it was executed with right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. The mind needs to take the effort to develop singleness of mind, performing tasks one by one with full awareness of mind, so that the mind can have well-developed concentration, ensuring the best possible outcome. The increased and high degree of focus, concentration, and memory with clarity of mind is attained through a well-developed practice of the Eightfold Path, but more specifically through daily training in meditation and through practicing singleness of mind in daily life. Performing one task at a time in daily life over a consistent long-term basis is a practice of singleness of mind and will readily develop right concentration outside of one's meditation sessions. A practitioner uses meditation to train the mind, but then moves the benefits of these sessions into daily life through their life practice. Focusing the mind on the breath and breathing mindfulness meditation trains the mind to have singleness of mind. Then the practitioner will need to apply the effort to ensure they are only performing one task at a time throughout their day in daily life. This fully brings the mind into the present moment through fully practicing singleness of mind in and out of meditation to accomplish the goal of right concentration. A practitioner then benefits from the increased and high degree of focus, concentration, and memory with clarity of mind, being able to apply them to your personal and professional life, creating beneficial outcomes. As taught in the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path is the life practice that leads to the complete elimination of discontentedness to attain enlightenment. The Eightfold Path needs to be deeply understood through detailed study and practiced in daily life to attain enlightenment. By eliminating cravings, you will lay down the burden of carrying these in the mind. Gotama Buddha used this phrase when describing enlightenment. Upon attaining enlightenment, one has laid down the burden or laid down the stress of carrying the heaviness of mental cravings. The practice of meditation allows you to practice every step of the Eightfold Path at one time for a given period of time. Right view through right concentration. This is why it is so effective at creating wellness and a healthy mind. During the time of meditation, one is conducting the entire Eightfold Path for that time frame. It's like restarting the mind with full execution of the Eightfold Path in multiple moments strung together. Those moments then lead to the next moments of a healthy and stable mind that generates concentration. And it is implementing the Eightfold Path as a life practice that will allow you to attain a peaceful, calm, serene, and content mind with joy, enlightenment. There are multiple forms of meditation that can be useful in training the mind. Breathing mindfulness meditation in the positions of seated, lying, standing, and walking, along with loving kindness meditation, are the main forms of meditation needed for attaining enlightenment. This will be explained more in the chapter titled Transforming the Three Poisons, Craving, Anger, and Ignorance, Chapter 8, and Meditation, Developing Your Practice, Chapter 11. You will find many meditation techniques and styles taught throughout the world. However, focusing on the types of meditation mentioned here will bring the best results in practicing the Eightfold Path as taught by Gotama Buddha. Other forms of meditation can be used as needed for specific goals or tasks the mind may need for continued training and liberation. More on meditation in later chapters. Many people start with meditation as their entry point into attempting to work towards enlightenment. That is fine. However, one must understand that meditation alone will not produce enlightenment if the entire Eightfold Path is not practiced throughout your daily life in a life practice. You cannot meditate your way to enlightenment through wishful thinking while having improper intentions, speech, or actions, and have a harmful livelihood. You could not attain enlightenment without meditation, but you also would not be able to attain enlightenment with only meditation. To attain enlightenment, you will need to learn and practice the entire Eightfold Path with meditation and other teachings. Through a regular practice of meditation to train the mind, quiet the mind, and eliminate cravings, you will gain higher and higher degrees of concentration. With a mind full of discontentedness, it's very hard to have concentration, but with continued practice of the entire Eightfold Path that includes meditation, you will experience a high degree of concentration as you pursue the goal of enlightenment and a higher state of consciousness. Gotama Buddha taught 4 jhanas, or degrees of concentration, that are attained as you progress closer and closer to enlightenment as part of right concentration. Jhana is the Pali word for meditative absorption and refers to states of deep and subtle concentration. The jhanas are preliminary phases the mind moves through prior to entering into the first stage of enlightenment. Gotama Buddha gave details that describe each of these jhanas. However, your goal should be to attain arahantship, in other words, become an arahant. This is the highest stage of enlightenment, and the mind is then enlightened. The jhanas are impermanent, while enlightenment is permanent. The goal is to achieve enlightenment. This means you will need to practice the entire Eightfold Path closely and eliminate the 10 fetters, along with eliminating and cultivating various attributes of the mind. There is no use trying to understand each individual jhana and which jhana you have or have not attained. It is best to develop and maintain a solid practice of these teachings while pursuing the path to arahantship by staying focused on the 10 fetters and eliminate these from the mind. Obtaining the human state is rare, and your time in this form is always limited. So there is no need to focus the mind on figuring out which jhana you are in, that you are headed toward, and where you want to be. This will take you away from learning the teachings and practicing the teachings that lead to complete liberation of the mind. The jhanas are temporary and not the goal of these teachings. The mind is not meant to reside there, so there is no need to focus extensive time and effort to understand each jhana, but instead apply dedication and commitment to eliminating the 10 fetters in the goal of attaining the stage of enlightenment as an arahant. Knowing you are attaining the jhanas can help you to understand you are headed in the right direction, but you should not crave or want a specific jhana. If you want a specific jhana, then you are craving and you will not attain complete enlightenment. All craving must be extinguished, including the craving to attain a specific jhana, or even the craving to attain enlightenment. You will need to pursue it as an interest, goal, or objective without craving. Another reason why there is no need to determine which jhana you are in is that there is no need to compare or evaluate your status on this path compared to anyone else. This is a personal pursuit and one that you are walking alone with teachers and guides to assist you. Comparing your progress to another person will only slow your progress, as this will create judgment and ego. Both judgment and ego, along with other qualities of the mind, need to be fully extinguished on the path to enlightenment. You will attain right concentration as you progress along the Eightfold Path and practice all the teachings deeply to include meditation. There are no shortcuts to achieving enlightenment. You must start at the bottom in order to get to the top of the mind. A higher state of consciousness or enlightenment is not given to you. personal responsibility, personal improvement, and an independent journey with the guidance of teachers is required in order to earn enlightenment. You can maintain a normal, healthy, and productive life while pursuing enlightenment. In fact, your life will actually continuously improve as you work your way towards enlightenment. You will notice ease and smoothness in areas of your life where you previously had roughness. Enlightenment is not something to prop up the ego against that you hold as a higher status over others. In fact, it's just the opposite. To achieve enlightenment, one needs to let go of their ego. As you pursue enlightenment through practicing the Eightfold Path, you will most likely be interested to help others attain enlightenment as well. It is best to refer new practitioners to teachers who are prepared to guide students in developing a deep understanding and practice of these teachings. If you attempt to help others while you are still gathering understanding yourself, then the work to help others will only hinder progress. It is best to refer anyone who is interested to pursue this path to a teacher who is capable of guiding them while still allowing you time to progress. Then together, both of you can discuss the teachings, supporting and encouraging each other. Enlightenment and its path is life-changing. You will see the results of implementing the Eightfold Path into your life as you constantly pursue enlightenment. To maintain the quality of enlightenment, continue to work at maintaining a healthy and pure mind through continuous attention to practice the Eightfold Path, using meditation as a tool to develop and maintain a content mind. Develop and maintain a wholesome life practice for the best results. Right intentions, right speech, and right actions will produce wholesome Dhamma, creating a life of ease and smoothness. Another way to understand these are kind intentions, kind speech, and kind actions. Enlightenment is a continuous pursuit of knowledge and the result of fully practicing the Eightfold Path, but it is also the starting point to fully apply your practice with a liberated mind. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the learning, growing, and developing. Enjoy knowing that you can achieve enlightenment through the process of earning your own enlightenment. You will never fear death because you know without a doubt that you are finished with discontentedness and the suffering it causes. Through pursuing enlightenment and attaining it, you will never be reborn. The mind will have inner joy and inner fulfilling peace that is unshakable. The below table shows the Eightfold Path grouped into its sections of wisdom, moral conduct, and mental discipline. Right view and right intention make up the wisdom section. Right speech, right action, and right livelihood make up the moral conduct section. Right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration make up the mental discipline section. There are 2 additional steps on the path to enlightenment, referred to as the Tenfold Path. The 2 additional steps described as part of the Tenfold Path are not taught, but instead experienced. The steps of right wisdom and right liberation are added to the Eightfold Path to describe the Tenfold Path. Right wisdom and right liberation do not have specific teachings that are shared to produce these factors of the path to enlightenment, but instead are the results of fully practicing the Eightfold Path and all the other teachings to attain enlightenment. An enlightened being will be practicing the Tenfold Path, where they will be experiencing right wisdom and right liberation as a result of fully practicing the Eightfold Path. 9. Right wisdom is a practitioner's deep understanding of the teachings and being able to communicate them with ease. A practitioner will have fully eliminated the unwholesome root of ignorance, unknowing of true reality, which is also described as a fetter, taint, pollution of mind as part of the 10 fetters. 10. Right liberation is that a practitioner's mind is fully liberated, experiencing freedom from discontentedness through having eliminated the 10 fetters. The mind is enlightened. You do not need to do anything special to focus on these 2 additional factors of the path to enlightenment, but instead, they will be developed as a result of all the other training you employ. Do not be the last one. The following is a translation of Gotama Buddha's teachings from the Pali Canon, the source of Gotama Buddha's teachings. And therefore, I say to you, Ananda, what is the good practice? It is the Noble Eightfold Path. When there are 2 men living, he under whom there occurs a breach of this good practice, he is the last man among them. Therefore, Ananda, I say to you, continue this good practice instituted by me, and do not be the last man. Gotama Buddha. Reference MN 83. Author's thoughts. Through this teaching from Gotama Buddha to one of his closest students, Ananda, with understanding of all other teachings of Gotama Buddha, we understand that Gotama Buddha is providing guidance that we should continue to learn and practice the Eightfold Path. This is the path that leads to the complete elimination and destruction of all discontentedness of the mind to attain enlightenment. Understanding the Eightfold Path thoroughly and in detail is highly important for the pursuit of enlightenment. Further, Gotama Buddha understood that his teachings are meant to fully liberate the mind of all of humanity, bringing peace to all humans. Until we attain enlightenment, we will constantly be reborn through the cycle of rebirth until we attain enlightenment during this very life or at death. Over time, as all of humanity attains enlightenment, eventually human existence will cease to exist because there will no longer be any beings to be reborn. Nothing lasts forever. All things will cease to exist, including all of humanity. So, do not be the last one to attain enlightenment. Pursue this good practice thoroughly and in detail. Learn and practice the Eightfold Path to liberate the mind with the help of teachers. The Eightfold Path is your life practice to liberate the mind and attain enlightenment so that you will no longer be reborn through the cycle of rebirth, and you can attain a peaceful and serene mind in life. Do not be the last one. The end of each chapter will have learning resources for further exploration. You will be able to explore the audiobook, videos, podcasts, and quizzes to deepen your understanding of the content you read in each chapter. Please see the ebook for more details on these resources. As you have questions or need clarification on these teachings, you are welcome to post those into the Facebook group, Daily Wisdom, Walking the Path with the Buddha, or contact the author privately for in-depth learning. Daily Wisdom, Walking the Path with the Buddha. Facebook.com/groups/Daily Wisdom 999.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. To provide support for this podcast, visit patreon.com/support Buddha. To access more teachings, visit buddhadailywisdom.com. There, you will discover a full range of courses, retreats, and online resources to assist you on the path to enlightenment. Remember to establish a daily, consistent meditation practice, along with learning and practicing these teachings. A well-developed meditation practice is the foundation in which to train the mind to attain enlightenment.